Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, I've said this exact statement before, that if you aren't pissed living in this clown world, then you must not care or you just aren't paying attention. If you understood the evil, and yes, I mean evil literally, that we're up against, the only proper reaction can be frustration and anger. Of course, that frustration and anger must be channeled properly. It's time to come up with a proper strategy. It's time to start paying attention because the well-being of our children is on the line here. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so it's no surprise that this whole gender identity trans thing has become a fad, especially when it comes to the younger generation. We've seen the data, we've covered the data. Some of the numbers that I've seen are just astonishing. I mean, stunning, shocking, whatever descriptive term you want to use. I've seen data suggesting that 1/5 of Gen Z identify as part of the LGBTQ community. It's an unprecedented growth which I have a hard time believing isn't influenced by some online trend. You know, videos like this on TikTok.
People are really out here saying that trans Chuchi is the inferior product. I'm sorry. We have the designer, expensive, bougie coochie. Like, you're telling me if someone says, would you like this free paper bag that came with my groceries, or would you like this $35,000 bag? You're taking the designer Birkin, babe. Like, seriously, you're just mad because trans girls don't want to put trash like you in our designer bags.
Glorifying and glamorizing this medical procedure, which they refer to as gender-affirming care. Of course, you know the Biden White House has been promoting these procedures as potentially life-saving and having positive value for youth.
There is substantial misinformation about gender-affirming care for transgender and gender-diverse individuals. We are in this nation facing an onslaught of anti-LGBTQI+ actions at the state levels across the United States, and they are dangerous to the public health. The positive value of gender-affirming care for youth and adults is not in scientific or medical dispute. So we all need to work together to get our voices out in the front line. We need to get our voices in the public eye. And we know how effective our medical community can be talking to communities, whether it's at town halls, schools, conversations with others. And we need to use our clinicians' voice to collectively advocate for our tech companies to create a healthier, cleaner information environment.
But Alabama's lawmakers and other legislators who are contemplating these discriminatory bills have been put on notice by the Department of Justice and the Department of Health and Human Services that laws and policies preventing care that healthcare professionals recommend for transgender minors may violate the Constitution and federal law. To be clear, every major medical association agrees that gender-affirming healthcare for transgender kids is a best practice and potentially life-saving.
Well, like most things, like most of the Democrat narratives and talking points, it's built on a mountain of lies. Of course, social studies and medical studies are now being conducted because, I mean, let's be real here. What's happening, especially targeting our children, is a social experiment. It's never been done before in history. And so we're only really finding out the truth kind of as we go along here. And the truth is exactly as I stated in the intro, disturbing and evil. Take a look at this piece from the Daily Mail. The hidden dangers of, quote, gender-affirming care. 55% of trans women who have had bottom surgery are in so much pain they need medical care years later, according to study of dozens of cases, and up to a third struggle to use the toilet or to have intercourse or coitus. It's absolutely unbelievable. More than half of trans women who have had bottom surgery are in so much pain years later that they need medical attention, a study suggests. Up to a third of patients also struggle to use the toilet or suffered intercourse-related issues 12 months after the operation, which sees patients transitioning from male to female given a surgical constructed female part. Researchers from the Women's College Hospital, WCH in Ontario, Canada, analyzed the medical records of 80 patients who sought care from the clinic between 3 months and 5 years after having the operation. Campaigners say the findings demonstrate that complex surgeries like vaginoplasty often carry risks that patients are unaware of, and at a time where there has been a dramatic uptick in the number of gender reconstructive surgeries in the United States and Canada. Take a look at this chart right over here. Reported symptoms of vaginoplasty patients. 53% of those sampled experience pain, and this is well after the procedure. Dilation-related concerns, 46%, bleeding, 42%, function concerns, 33.8%, discharges, 32.5%, tightness, 28.7%, urinary issues, 22.5%, wound healing issues, 21.3%, aesthetic dissatisfaction, 18.8%, hair inside the organ, 12.5%, anatomic irregularity, 12.5%, mental health concerns, 12.5%, loss of depth, 10%, malodor, 10%, canal closure, 10%, numbness, 3.8%, and dryness 2.5. Holy moly. This is a large majority. There's probably some doubles or some overlapping issues here, but 53.8% experience pain. If you add the other concerns on top of that, there's probably not some overlap in certain cases and people experiencing different issues. It seems almost like this procedure comes with a side of medical issues and psychological issues that are life-changing. It's not just a small little thing. Democrats are actively promoting and pushing and pursuing policies of irreversibly disfiguring children at a young age. It's inexcusable, it's indefensible, it's evil, it's wrong, and it must be stopped. You know, everyone says the same thing, and I agree, so I'll repeat it. You're above 18 years old, you're an adult, you want to do whatever you want to yourself, go right on ahead. You want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with piercings and ink in your face and splitting your tongue and turning into a lizard. Go for it. There's people who do that, and you know what? That's freedom. It's bodily autonomy. Do whatever you want. But when we're talking about children, prepubescent children, all the way up to before 18 years old, there's no justifying that. No, absolutely not. That is evil. These kids don't know who they are and what they want. They're malleable, and they're being influenced by a culture that continues to promote these ideas, and they're doing it to fit in. People who feel outcast. Well, if I do this, maybe I'll feel better. And in almost all cases, it doesn't make them feel better. It's just another way for kids to separate themselves from the pack, to feel unique, to feel like they're part of something. It's a cultural influence, and it has to stop. That's why we're seeing this crazy uptick in people who regret making the decision. But you know what? It's one thing to say, I identify as whatever it is, such and such, and then changing your mind afterwards. It's another to make that decision, then to have the whole medical system and Democrat cultural establishment promoting you as some sort of hero, some sort of brave warrior in the culture battle, to then mutilate your body. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. That is exactly what's going on. And then regret it afterwards. Well, too late. Regret and going back is one thing. Well, there's no going back from a vaginoplasty. And from there, you are stuck. And you're probably stuck with lifelong chronic health issues moving forward. That's not a joke. But the way we're seeing woke people, and especially these woke people in school administration, talk about this stuff so nonchalantly as if it's not a big deal. Like this viral clip from Minneapolis that's bouncing around.
I would encourage the committee to vote no on this amendment for a few reasons. Practical, financial, social, emotional. First, there are a lot of schools that are moving towards gender-neutral bathrooms, and if we add female, we might become obsolete very quickly. Second, not all students who menstruate are female. We need to make sure that all students have access to these products. There are obviously less non-female menstruating students, and therefore their usage will be much lower. And that was actually calculated into the cost of this and how much we decided to fund it. And so we do not expect that the non-female menstruating students will use these products as much as the students using female bathrooms, but it's important to have them there. And that brings me to just the social emotional reasons for that. These students who are not female, who menstruate, face a greater stigma and barrier to asking for these products, and so providing them in an easily accessible place in all student bathrooms is particularly important for those students.
The more I see of this, the more concerning it is. People are just not taking this as seriously as it needs to be. They think they're being compassionate. They think they're being woke. You're not being compassionate. You're being an enabler, and you're enabling a devastating issue and problem. In many of these cases, the true way to save these children is to make sure that they don't end up regrettably mutilating their body, to attack the issue at the core, to find out what the real issue is. to work on moving forward, to work on healing, not just a stamp of approval. Whatever identity you want, whatever pills you want, whatever surgery you want, all of it's approved. Here's the prescription. Here's society bending and molding to whatever identity you choose for the day. The consequences here are devastating. They're serious. It's not a joke. It's not just a smiley, woke little fantasy. We're talking about the destruction of people's lives, and we don't even know the end result yet. It's a brand new experiment that's exploding in popularity. In other words, a trend, and we're not going to truly see the devastating medical end game reality for a while. But I'm telling you, the writing is on the wall, and it's time to start standing up. It's time to start waking people up to what's going on here. It's time to start saving the next generation and saving our children. We honestly need more governors like Ron DeSantis.
When they say gender affirming care, they mean giving puberty blockers to teenage girls and teenage boys. They mean doing double mastectomies on young girls. They mean chemically castrating young boys. That is wrong. We are not going to allow that to happen in the state of Florida. A lot of kids go through a lot of different things. A lot of the dysphoria resolves itself by the time they become adults. And we have a number of people that have spoken out in favor of what we're doing to say you should not mutilate minors. And they went through this when they were minors. Now they're adults and they regret it. And other countries in Europe that went down this road have now backtracked. And so we're doing the right thing. It's inappropriate to be doing basically what's genital mutilation.
We're messing with the natural order of biology, and it's going to get ugly. I don't know about you guys, but I have a real bad feeling about this whole social experiment. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.